Welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of Boomer and Junior. My name's Boomer.
And I'm Junior.
How we doing? How we doing today, Zachy? What's going on in your world, pal?
Oh, doing good, man. Yeah, I got back. I was visiting some friends in Los Angeles over the weekend. It was a good time just going up and hanging out. They're friends from Purdue. You know them. It's David, Connor, and Aubrey. So, some good friends of ours. Spent many a days watching football and basketball with them back in our Boilermaker days. So it was good seeing them. We watched a little bit of
Shout out the
sports. We turned on the Purdue game. We were watching Texas Tech BYU. And then we saw that Purdue was up 3-0 on Ohio State. It was like, oh, wait, hold on. We're putting this on. What if they do a repeat of the Spoilermakers from like 7 years ago?
Dude,
that didn't happen. We'll get into that in a bit. But anyways, we got stoked about it, though.
About that game, I was texting my uncle last night. He was like, hey, Purdue only lost 34-10. And I was like, I think the days of the Spoilermakers are well behind us. I don't know if we're ever going to see another version of that team again. Guys, I know Zach had a really good weekend because I got a bunch of funny texts last night at like an ungodly hour. Mind you, I live in Dallas and he lives on the West Coast, so that's how I know I'm always on his mind.
Hey, sometimes in West Hollywood, making you feel some type of way, gotta shout out to the homie.
I gotta show the homie some love. My weekend was good. I got to see some friends Friday night from high school that I hadn't seen in a while. Watched a bunch of college football yesterday. What was I gonna say? I didn't really do much today. I took a nap today after I went grocery shopping. Like, really solid weekend of just doing stuff. The next 2 weeks for me are gonna be a little interesting. I got High Rocks coming up here in Dallas on November 21st. I've been training for the last 4 months for that, and it's been kicking my butt. But we're gonna get the job done. We're officially in go mode the next 2 weeks, and so it's gonna be good.
Nick, which are you more excited for, your High Rocks event or your ragu dinner that you're making right now?
Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up. For folks at home, I have a slow cooker, I have a pot going right now of a ragu I've been making for 6 hours. And by my calculations, I have under an hour left. But I'm very excited. Having said that, I'm definitely more excited for High Rocks for 2 reasons. I've been kicking my ass for the last 6 months, roughly 6 months for it. And 2, I'll be honest, I'm ready to get it over with so I can have a fun December with alcohol and friends. Be safe with alcohol, folks. Anyway, on that safe note, we're gonna kick off into last week's recap. Zach, we had a lot of good games, huh, pal?
Oh my gosh, yes we did, and it was weird because some games we thought might be good weren't, but then games that we didn't expect to be good were. So yeah, it was definitely
Facts.
crazy. You want to start us off with that Ohio State Purdue matchup?
Yeah, man, for sure. Talking about our Boilers. Great matchup again of number 1 Ohio State coming into West Lafayette to play Purdue. A lot of folks were saying oh my God, the Spoilermakers of 2018 might show up and wreck number 1 Ohio State. Throw a wrench in their plans for their playoffs and whatnot. Yeah, let's just say that that maybe happened for the first field goal that they made, and that was it. But man, my notes really on this game was Julian Sainz really still doing the thing. The dude had over 300 yards of passing, a tutty, threw a pick, but didn't really amount to much. I want to make a special shout out to my friend Jeremy here in Dallas, who he's an Ohio State alum, and him and my buddy Zach are in a group chat. And Zach and I went to Purdue. Other Zach, by the way, folks, not this Zach. And he very nonchalantly goes, hey, maybe you guys should guard this Jeremiah Smith dude. And just the most and I didn't have anything to say to that. I didn't have anything to say to that. Jeremiah Smith had 135 yards of passing, a tutty, man. But on my last note really for this game is I think it's such a testament to how well-rounded this team is, dude, when they've got a pair of running backs that just run all over their opponents, man. C.J. Donaldson had 2 touchdowns to his name, and Bo Jackson, while he didn't score, still had 75 yards. Dude, this Ohio State team, we've said it all year long, everyone's talked about it, man. They're just the whole package, and it makes me it's almost make it a little interesting. Drop a game here or there. Make it a little interesting. Give me something. Like, I want to see a number one team that's had a loss. You know what I mean? But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, like you were talking about, like Julian saying stat line, and it's crazy how the 303 yards, a touchdown, and interception was like a disappointing game for him. Like we're so accustomed to him having these, really stellar performances off the bat that it's kind of crazy that against a not great Purdue defense that he had that type of a stat line, and we're like, oh man, really, like just that, like threw a pick.
Isn't
like,
the dude
crazy.
the dude like a true freshman? Isn't he a true freshman?
I think he's a redshirt freshman, but still, I mean, nonetheless, yeah, first year as a starting quarterback is pretty crazy.
18, 19 years old, throwing 300 plus yards a game. Like shut up, man. Like go home. Anyway, I'm done talking about how Purdue lets me down.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like we talked about. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago about that Nick Saban quote of, man, that Alabama coach Nick Saban, or that Alabama coach had him on the scout team.
Scout team.
That guy's a dumbass.
Scout team. Oh my God. Yeah. Julian saying the man running it in Columbus, man. What a dog.
Pretty iconic, yeah. So. I'm
really jealous, by the way, this next game that I gave you. I'm really jealous, by the way, but go on.
Yeah. Staying in the Big Ten, and funny enough, both of those teams rivals. We got Ohio State rival Penn State and Purdue rival IU matching up in Happy Valley, a game that going into the season was expected to be an insane matchup, potentially two top five teams playing each other. And alas, we all know what's happened with Penn State this year and kind of them falling off a bit. That's been well documented on this podcast and pretty much any college football media outlet. However, Nittany Lions showing flashes of what they were supposed to be this year. They did end up falling 27-24 in this game to the number 2 Hoosiers. But, man, did they play a great game.
Yeah, no, man. I'm going to take some notes off here, but, like, insane game-winning touchdown, right? Like, it had my dad questioning, like, was it a touchdown? Like, was it really a touchdown? Like,
oh, yeah. It was insane. I mean, for folks who didn't see it, it was crazy. So it was Omar Cooper Jr. caught the game-winning touchdown for IU, and he had his right foot about to touch down out of bounds, but he had the awareness to not just get his left foot down inbounds, but to also raise his right foot to ensure that it didn't hit out of bounds first. It was insane. I guess technically an NFL catch because he didn't have 2 feet in, but that type of a play, though, that awareness and stuff to do that.
Dude, I was watching this game, right, and I was rooting for Penn State really, really bad because my brother went there, but also I really, really, really wanted to see them throw a wrench in Indiana's plans. Like, I wanted nothing more than that, and it looked like they had the game with 40 seconds left, and, like, Omar hits this insane, like, he caught this and they were replaying it, and I'm watching it like, that's a touchdown. Like, it's clear as day, foot's fully in bounds, not an inch touching the white. I'm like, that's a touchdown. Indiana's going to win this game. Like, yeah, man, I think I will say one note I put down that I want to call out is, like, there was a lot of hype for this Penn State going into the season based on a lot of their returning players, right? Obviously Drew Aller, but Nicholas Singleton as well, the running back for Penn State, man. He really showed that, he's the last of the good ones, I think, left on that team. Had 2 touchdowns to his name in a season, like, in a really important game in a season that's kind of like a wash. Like, I'm hoping he's going to get picked up like, midway through the draft at this point, but, like, he's a dog. Day 2, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, funny thing about Nick Singleton, actually, now that you mentioned that, and him being, like, one of the last good ones left on the team, he is, I believe, 2 rushing touchdowns short of Saquon Barkley's Penn State record for career rushing touchdowns. They put up that graphic during the game. I thought that was pretty interesting. So that's obviously Saquon had a stellar career there, and my dad and I had our thoughts about him being pretty inconsistent and stuff at times, but the numbers don't lie. He did have a lot of rushing touchdowns. So Nick Singleton might be snagging that, though, before the year's over.
I think he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Next game, move on?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. We're going to switch things up into the SEC. We had number 9 Texas A&M going into Mizzou, playing number 22 Mizzou, coming out with a pretty solid win, 38-17. I want to point out Texas A&M is 9-0, folks. They are 9-0. They are beating Zach's 8-4 allegations from earlier in the podcast and earlier in the season.
I'm absolutely bamboozled here.
I'm looking gonna back you on that. Like, no one thought this was gonna happen. One of my best friends at work is an Aggie, and I was texting him like late last night, early today, and he was telling me like all of my friends are like perplexed essentially. Dude, Marcel Reed, that guy, 221 yards, 2 tutties, man. Ruben Owens the second, 102 rush yards and 2 tutties to his name, dog. Like these are the guys that are like meant to do well. All right. Special shout out as a Cowboys fan. E.J. Smith, son of Emmitt Smith, had a touchdown to his name as well. He transferred to A&M from Stanford. I think it was this year. Yeah, man, A&M's 9-0. I think they're. Is it just Ohio State, Indiana, and A&M that are unbeaten still? I think
so. Yeah.
Because BYU went down, right? And so,
Yep.
I think, yeah, man, no, like, Aggies proving it, man, week in, week out. Like, they're such a complete team. I think they're probably the most. This might be a semi-bold take coming out of Boomer, but I think they're the most complete team in the SEC, dude. Other teams have dropped. Yeah, other teams have dropped games. Like they've looked complete on both sides of the ball. Yeah.
I think it's them and Alabama are both in like at the top tier. Like Alabama may or may not be better, but I think those two are kind of in a league of their own above the rest of the field there.
Yeah. Since you mentioned Alabama, I'm gonna steer away from this game really quick. Special shout out to Kalen DeBoer. Like, I mean, this year's really cemented himself as just like that guy for the program. Like, I mean, he's rocking with that team. Really, like, obviously year one's gonna be shaky, but man, he's really cemented that team in place. Coming back from that, man, and I really want them to be the SEC like winners outright. Like, that's who I'm rooting for, quite frankly. I'm a little tired of like Alabama and Georgia and LSU really just being the guys that take it year after year. But yeah, man, go Ags. Go Aggies.
My only thing is a home first round playoff game at Kyle Field would be electric. I do agree. I want them to win the SEC and just like, get that bye and keep moving on with that. But a first round playoff game at Kyle Field, if they were in the 5 through 12 range, or I guess 5 through 8 range, would be insane. Crazy.
I would not want to be the opposing team in that game.
No.
When Notre Dame played A&M in A&M last year, I had friends that were like, hey, come on down. Respectfully, I do not want 110,000 people screaming against me the way Aggies do at Kyle Field. Yeah. Dude, yeah, that'd be electric. Holy crap. Yeah, man, Aggies been on the road. Sucks to see Mizzou. I'll end on this note. Sucks to see Mizzou start to trail off. Perbula obviously being the guy on that team. He's not there anymore. Zollers, I mean, for being a true freshman, doing what he can.
Okay. Yeah.
He's doing he's 18 years old, right? Like, I mean, he's doing what he can. It's going to be interesting to see where Mizzou trails off into the sunset for the rest of the year. But I mean, yeah, man, it was a good run while it lasted.
Absolutely, yeah, and we'll see if maybe they're able to build off this with Zollers, getting some experience here in this freshman season.
Absolutely.
Seems that they've got pieces, just not getting together. And again, it's like, to be fair, they've got a lot of other really great teams in the SEC. Obviously, they're competing with. Some of said SEC teams are in our next matchup, which you alluded to a second ago, which we got unranked LSU, who played at number 4 Alabama this Saturday night. Alabama coming away with a 20-9 victory, maybe a little closer than some would have expected. But getting the win nonetheless. Some key storylines in this game. LSU had no touchdowns, which I guess it kind of makes sense with the 9 points. Probably expect 3 field goals, but still pretty crazy nonetheless. And the even bigger storyline was preseason Heisman favorite Garrett Nussmeier was benched in this game, which is crazy to think about going into the season. I mean, it's one thing for a quarterback to fall up and to get benched. Wow.
His fall from grace should be studied, quite frankly. Begs the question if he's going to get drafted at all, honestly. Crazy
I think he will get drafted. But he's not a surefire top 10 pick like he was before. It's just crazy, too. And, I mean, part of it, you can't blame the kid. You've got, Brian Kelly, who I hope he's a better coach than he is a person because that's a pretty low bar. But just with Brian Kelly being the coach and then getting fired, just a lot of turnover and stuff like that. Tough for the kid to develop and be kind of stable. So, also Alabama's a good team to their credit. So.
I will say it sucks to see that. I mean, I was rooting for Nussmeier more than I was Brian Kelly at LSU this year. I want him to at least succeed for his sake. I mean, even last year he looked really good. Like he looked really good. But the fact that he got benched is crazy. Like I didn't even know that because I wasn't really watching this game, but crazy, man.
Yeah. One quick final shout out here for the Alabama offense. Ty Simpson just continuing to be that guy. 277 passing yards and a touchdown in that win for the Crimson Tide. He has really just been everything they needed this year. Truly impressive.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had that blemish week 1 against Florida State, but ever since it seems like he has just got that offense cooking and doing what needs to be done to get the victory for their team.
Yeah, dog. I think DeBoer really locked that team in after that week 1 L against FSU. I think they're looking like a really, really good team to take out the SEC altogether, man. We'll see. They're gonna give Aggies a run for their money, that's for sure. Yeah, man. We're gonna switch things up, move over to the Big 12. This was a highly anticipated matchup. Game day was at this game. Number 7 BYU going into Lubbock to play number 8 Texas Tech. Going down, number 8 Texas Tech taking the dub, 29-7, and this was a pretty one-sided matchup, I will say. Like, I want to preface with saying, down goes unbeaten BYU. Baron Morton really, man, like really charging this team up. I mean, I think similar to a lot of the other games, the running backs coming in clutch, right? Cameron Douglas having a game, 121 yards on the rushing, also a touchdown. Key thing to note in this game, I alluded to this, but BYU, being as good as they've been all year, didn't have a score on the board until the fourth quarter. Like, zeros all the way through, and then they finally had a last-ditch touchdown. But, man, like, it sucks. Selfishly, being an Irish fan, I'm happy that, a team above us fell so we could climb up a little bit. But at the same time, BYU was undefeated, and they were hot. And, like, it sucks to see a team go down, but also I love the Red Raiders this year, man. Like I really, really love them. I love their quarterback. Love the energy that's coming out of Lubbock from that team. I was rooting for Tech in this game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of happy they came out with the dub here.
Yeah. Start of this game was for sure that Texas Tech defense, as it kind of has been for their squad all season. Yeah, like you said, didn't allow BYU to score until the fourth quarter. Just truly an impressive performance. And it was kind of slow shakes early on. I think it was like 13-0 at half maybe for Texas Tech. So, that I don't think that offense is going to be strong enough for them to be a national championship contender when the time comes to it. But I think they're definitely going to be a very pesky team to play in the playoff, assuming they get there, which it seems like they're in the driver's seat for at this point.
They're gonna be a spicy team, is what I like to say. They're gonna be a spicy team. They're gonna bring some of that Texas salsa to the playoffs, man. I like that. Wow,
Yes, sir.
That makes me hungry now. I'm not gonna lie. Okay,
Yeah.
move on.
Well, going away from the sunny Texas spice that was going on in that game, we're going to go to the exact opposite. That is the cornfields of Iowa, where there was an absolute monsoon as the Oregon Ducks, ranked number 9 in the country, scraped by against the Iowa Hawkeyes, getting the 18-16 victory. This was way closer, or maybe not way closer than expected. Iowa was supposed to put up a good fight in this game, but just the nature of it, though, how close it was absolutely insane. And to be fair, like I said, very rainy day, which definitely favored the Hawkeye team, which isn't that great through the air, but good on the ground. Conversely, Oregon, really electric, dynamic passing attack. But Oregon still found a way to get it done on the road in Iowa City. They were down. They won this game via a game-winning field goal with under 10 seconds left in the game.
It's wild.
So it was really tight
crazy.
down to the end. Yeah.
My only note on this game is, and I'm a big Dan Lanning guy. I love that dog. Like he's a great coach, and I think he's been awesome at Oregon, especially last year with them coming out with the overall number 1 ranking. I don't think there's questions to be asked about Dan Lanning, but I will say I think there's questions to be asked about Dante Moore and this team. We're well into the season at this point. We're coming into week 10 or we're week 12. I apologize. And we're definitely in the thick of it, coming out to the end of it, right? Like, I know teams get beaten up, they lose players here and there, but like, can they get across that finish line? Can they put up a fight in right there towards the end of the Big Ten. It looks like Ohio State and Indiana are going to take that number 1 and number 2 spot unless something miraculous happens in the next couple weeks. But Oregon, what are we doing? Fix your shit. What's going on?
Yeah, tough scene. Like you said, Dan Lanning, definitely no questions about him. He is definitely still him. Going to have a nice long tenure for the Oregon Ducks, but like you said, this squad in particular may not be as good. I think it'll be a solid team still. I think they, with this win, that definitely helped their playoff case because now this is gonna go as more of a quality win for them. They're gonna end up kind of being like last year's IU team. I feel in terms of not really much great in the way of quality wins, but they're definitely gonna get in if they finish with that 11-1 record. They could win a game or two in the playoffs, but I don't think they will be winning the national championship either.
Nah, I don't think they go past. I don't think they go past the quarters. Quite frankly, I don't think they go past the quarters.
Likely not. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna shift away from Big Ten action a little bit. We're gonna go back into the Deep South. Auburn going into Nashville to play number 16 Vandy. Vandy scraping by with with a 45-38 win. Auburn really put up a fight in this one. I'm not gonna lie, man. And especially after they just let go of their head coach, and
it's almost like Hugh Freeze is a bad person and a cancer for programs. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk, right? Credit. I think all the credit in this game goes to Diego Pavia, man. We talk about this dude week in, week out on this podcast. It's getting a little annoying how much we talk about this guy, but the dude just keeps doing the thing. Homeboy had almost 500 total yards, 3 touchdowns in the air. I think he had one on the ground, rushing. Diego, I get it. You're good, dog. At this point, give me a break. I'm trying to see someone else be good, bro.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I'm extremely entertained, but at the same time, I want to see something go wrong. I want to see him show some weakness, but he's really just not doing that. Dude's a dog. Dude's got grit. Vandy keeps rolling, man. Vandy keeps doing the thing.
Mm-hmm. Career high in passing yards for Diego Pavia with that 377 yards. He's definitely broken the 300 mark a few times, but career high is pretty big stuff for him and the Commodores. They're staying alive. If they keep winning games, they might be able to sneak in that playoff. We'll see. They're doing all right now.
It's going to be a late push, but yeah.
Yeah, questions about the defense, obviously, here, giving up 38 to a not-so-great Auburn squad, but getting the win nonetheless, and that's what matters.
You have to figure that out, but yeah, good game. Go Vandy.
Yes, sir. Back over to Big Ten play with what is arguably the most surprising result of the weekend, and that was number 23 Washington losing at Wisconsin. Washington Huskies, what happened? I knew that was going to get Nick. This is crazy. Washington's been a really good team all year, and I feel like has been regarded as the best or one of the best unranked teams for the majority of the season, led by true freshman quarterback Damon Williams, just really doing a great job on that squad, getting some big wins. However, they finally got recognized. They got ranked at number 23 in the country this week, and then they go out and lose to, I believe, a previously winless in Big Ten play Wisconsin team. Oh man,
this Wisconsin team is probably the worst I've ever seen them in terms of how they're playing.
Yeah.
I've never seen Wisconsin the Badgers be this bad. I was for sure Washington's gonna go into Madison and take the dub, but man, I saw that final score and I was a little surprised. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. There's a fun number on this game. However, it is my junior's jumbo stat of the week, so I think I'm going to save it until that segment. But there's some punter action in that game.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Quick note, though, on some head coach stuff here that might have had an influence. Luke Fickell did recently get backing from the University of Wisconsin, kind of saying, hey, this is our guy. We're going to back him again for next year. We're going to invest more into the program, try to help him win. That might have really helped buy in from the team and, get them to, more confident. Okay, we know what it's going to be like next year. We know we're still working towards that goal of, getting to a bowl game and stuff. So that might have had a factor in helping Wisconsin get this upset. Conversely, on the Washington side of things, I don't know if this came out before or after the game, but apparently Jed Fish is desperately trying to escape this job. Apparently, Seattle is just not working for the Fish family, which is kind of unfortunate that's the the driving force that, like, in this world of college athletics, families have to move around so much, and it's tough that, really hard on the families. So unfortunate situation, but his family's moved back down to Arizona, I believe I saw, and is trying to figure that out. So we'll see if there's any interesting coaching stuff happening there over the next couple months.
That is news. I did not know that. Oh man.
Yeah, that was a little weird, interesting snippet. That was like, oh, that's because you just don't know how those factors play in, like, in the locker room and stuff. You don't see that on the field, but just the little things here and there could have an impact.
Oh man, that's tough. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Fish family.
Yes, sir. And then our final note for the week for college football recap is that the ACC is destroying itself. Oh my gosh. What looked like at one point a potential 3 or 4 bid league. That would have required some luck, don't get me wrong. But it was in the cards, though. ACC, what is you doing, baby? Just these teams keep losing games. They happen to have, like, their 4 top teams, only one matchup between the 4 of them throughout the entire course of the season. So could have all had maybe one loss by the time the end of the season comes. Instead, though, they're dropping games, and the most recent example of that was UVA losing to Wake Forest 16-9 this past weekend, as well as Louisville losing in overtime to Cal. These were 2 teams that only had one loss before, looking like in a good spot to try to sneak into the playoffs. The committee clearly knew what they were doing. The committee very undervalued ACC teams in their initial rankings this past week.
They got it right.
And they got validated. It kind of irritated me when I saw that, but clearly the committee was right, as much as that pains me to say there. Yeah, absolutely insane. Louisville lost in overtime. Cal, their opponent who upset them, had the ball 4th and goal at the 3-yard line and chose to go for it for a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal to tie the game and send it to double overtime. And by golly, Berkeley got it in the end zone and got the win. Very gutsy call. Big win for them, though. And at this point, Georgia Tech is the only one-loss ACC team left. And conference championships aren't supposed to have an impact on the college football playoff rankings at this point. So the only real chance they have of getting 2 teams in is if Georgia Tech wins out, which requires wins against Pitt and Georgia. And then one of these other 2-loss ACC teams gets into the conference championship game and beats Georgia Tech then, which is, could happen to teams like last year potentially, but ACC just cannibalizing itself.
It sucks. It sucks to see it, man, because you had a lot of good contenders like UVA, Louisville, man. Like, GT still obviously
exciting, fresh faces, like teams that we don't talk about for the playoff often.
Literally, and it's just like this is the classic ACC towards, like, at least we've seen in the last couple of years where they're just like shooting themselves in the foot left and right. Man, I'm still hoping for a push. I'm hoping for a late push from Louisville. I'm really hoping they sneak in. This loss doesn't help them. This loss doesn't help Brom and his men, but oh well, they keep rolling, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, yeah, that concludes our college football recap of the week. So we're going to move on to the next segment, which is our Boomer's Bold Take. So, Boomer, hit us with it. What's your bold take of the week, man?
Hey, everybody. Okay, so on Boomer's Bold Take, I've really done a lot of, like, how I feel about things. I've not really called games. I've not really made any unanimous, like, statements. That changes this week. There's a team I'm looking at in particular, and that's the Pittsburgh Panthers. Right, Pittsburgh Panthers. And I am calling that they're going to beat Miami to fully shut them out of the college football playoffs. I don't, nervously, I will call this out, and I hope it doesn't come true. Pittsburgh plays Notre Dame in Pittsburgh next week. And if they beat Notre Dame, that officially shuts them out of the CFP. We're not going to think about that for now. I will say, Miami's looking shakiest, like the shakiest they've looked all season long. Granted, they just won this past weekend, but having said that, Pittsburgh's a sneaky looking team. If there's any team, I think the rest of the year that's gonna give Miami the business and show them the door, I think that's Pittsburgh. So that's my bold take this week. I do want to call out something from last week, and that it came true this week, really quickly, probably the quickest bold take that's turned around. I said Virginia's not going to hold on to their number 1 ACC through the season, and here they are, losing to Wake Forest, at home, mind you. And so I don't think my takes are that crazy anymore. They're a little crazy, but the fact that they're coming true is a little spooky.
They're saying this is the quickest a Boomer's Bowl take has ever come true.
They're saying that his takes are really not that bold. They're really just not that bold. But anyway, I think the Pittsburgh Panthers are going to shut out Miami from the CFP. I would give a lot to see this happen. I would give a lot, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
We'll see. Yeah, you've been having some good shots called this year with your Boomers Bowl takes. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe this one comes true too. Pat Narduzzi's got that team, can be a little pesky sometimes. So we'll see if Pitt can pull it off.
I don't know what's in the sauce for me, like how I've been getting this shit right, but here we are.
Rocking and rolling, baby.
Having said that, we're going to move on to our next segment, and that's Junior's Jumbo Stat of the Week. Junior, what's the number? Hit us.
Yes, sir. This is a little sicko one related to that Washington-Wisconsin game like I mentioned. Number's 24. And that is passing yards by Wisconsin's punter in their game this past week against the Washington Huskies. That's cool and all. Punter, they ran a fake punt, completed 1 for 1, 24 yards. That's great and all. And, but fake punts happen, though. That's not a super abnormal thing for, a punter to throw a pass. However, The crazy thing is, that was Wisconsin's leading passer for the game. Was this one fake punt play where the punter got a 24-yard completion. No other Wisconsin passer, which they had 4 guys throw a pass in this game.
Yeah.
And actually all of them had threw at least 3 passes except for the punter. And none of them had more than 24 yards, which is crazy. So shout out to Sean West, who led all Wisconsin passers in that game in the upset victory.
And they still won. And
that's the thing, is they won.
It makes me question, what the heck's Washington doing? What are we doing, guys? I don't know, man.
I mean, maybe travel's a factor. That's one of those games. I feel like that's, something related. But, I mean, it was just to Wisconsin, though. It wasn't like it was to Rutgers. That's, a bit more intense and stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Sicko stat nonetheless, though. I'm glad to be dishing something up like that. That was a really fun one to have.
I officially have no idea what's going on with the games anymore this year. I have no idea, truly.
Yeah.
I don't tell you.
All right, yeah. Well, moving on then, we'll go to our playoff impact games of the week. We had a lot of playoff impacts this past week, so maybe there'll be some more surprises like that for this upcoming week here, but only a few that we called out here initially. So, Nick, you want to start us off?
Yeah, man, for sure. We've got a couple each here. My first one, real surprising. I'm going for the Notre Dame game, right? Number 9 Notre Dame Fighting Irish going into number 23 Pittsburgh, like I mentioned. This is an interesting one. You got 2 top 25 teams. Notre Dame looking to win out, obviously, the rest of their games. They're 7-2, I think, right now. And this is going to be, as my dad calls it, potentially a trip-up game for Notre Dame. Like I mentioned earlier, one more L and Notre Dame is out of the playoffs. Everyone's talked about this. There's no reason why they should be in with 3 losses. However, having said that, C.J. Carr is looking really, really good on that offense. Defense has finally cleaned it up. And hey, we made extra points this week, guys. We made not one. We made all of our extra points. No, I was literally texting my uncle after every single extra point was made. I was like, "We made 2." He goes, we shouldn't be celebrating this? Yeah, should be an interesting one to look at. I'm gonna be nervous watching this game just a little bit, but having said that, I think the Irish are gonna pull away. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Moving on, we got another 2-loss team who is looking a little shaky to start the year, but is rebounding in a crazy way, and that's number 10 Texas going on to take Georgia in Athens. Texas was looking pretty desolate for a while there, but that Red River rivalry win got them turned around. They've been cooking ever since. Arch Manning's been playing well. The team as a whole is just playing well. So watch out for this one. Texas this is kind of a do or die, as is every game for them at this point. Georgia, I think, still got a little bit of leeway, but this is going to be a tough test for them on the road at Georgia.
For folks listening, when we were coming up with this week's podcast game plan, we were looking at rankings and we saw that Texas were number 10 in the AP rankings, and Zach and I both had the same reaction of how? The Texas and Arch Manning bias is wild. Now, Arch has improved his game, don't get me wrong, But number 10, really? Like, I get it. They're a 2-loss team.
Because they
I
haven't
get
been
it.
like killing teams either.
That's
Like
the
they've been
thing.
scraped by.
I think the defense they're going to make is, oh, we beat Vandy at home. But that was a close game, too, and Pavia balled out in that one. It's clear. It's crazy clear how much the Manning name is really helping pull this team up. But yeah, man, they're number 10 this week. But keeping it in the SEC, my next game for Impact Games of the Week is number 11 Oklahoma playing number 4 Alabama. They're going into Tuscaloosa, the Sooners. This could, on their best day, if Mateer's playing his best ball, man, like they're gonna give Bama a run for their money. And I think I'm hoping for that just for a little bit of, I love a little bit of, spicy chaos thrown in this time of year. I'm rooting for the Sooners in this, but I think Bama's going to clear easy.
It would be quite funny because Oklahoma beat Bama last year I think they put Bama at like 6-6 or whatever. It'd be really funny if Oklahoma. Oh no, that's right. They knocked Bama out of the playoff race, made them like 9-3 or whatever. But anyways, it'd be really funny if Oklahoma did the same thing, gives Alabama their second loss of the year, and all of a sudden, Bama would still be in with 2 losses, but all of a sudden they don't have any margin anymore. If they took another loss, they'd be out. So I agree with you. I do think the Crimson Tide, especially at home, are going to get this victory. But Oklahoma isn't a scrubby squad, so they're definitely going to give them a run for their money.
For sure, man. For sure.
And then finally, this one's a little bit of a sleeper pick. This is over to the ACC. This is number 14, Virginia, which 14 is definitely going down a bit, but at Duke. Duke was like 5-4 on the year, I believe, and just lost to UConn, if I recall correctly. So not a great squad. However, they've given some teams a serious run for their money in the past this year. Virginia is kind of on the ropes, and they just lost to Wake Forest. Like, I think Duke's a better team than Wake Forest, or has a higher ceiling than Wake Forest, that is.
Yes.
So I would say watch for this road game at Duke to be a possible upset and completely bounce Virginia from the playoff consideration.
Yeah, man. I'm rooting for Virginia in this, but they've looked shaky, and they look like completely not like themselves against Wake Forest, and so. And Duke's been sneaky. They're going to look to try and create a real upset. I mean, obviously Clemson's not the real Clemson this year. So, I mean, their win against Clemson, really, you can say something about that. But I could see an upset here, and I could see them completely knocking Virginia out of the playoff picture here, man. For sure.
For sure.
All
right. Yeah. We'll slide on over then to our next segment, which is our Boomer Junior Blitz. We'll go ahead and make our picks. Nick, you want to start us off?
For sure. Going first, I'm going into the SEC. Arkansas is going into Baton Rouge to play LSU, man. LSU's favored by 5.5 points. Having said that, I'm on the let's take a shit on LSU train this year. And Arkansas has looked good. At times. And I think I'm calling for the upset. I'm calling for underdogs Arkansas to beat them. Like, they're calling by 5.5 right now. I think Arkansas can easily win this out by 7 or 14 points, dude. LSU is down. They're on the ropes. They just lost to Alabama, obviously. But obviously Alabama's Alabama. Man, I think this is going to be a lot closer than people are really making it out to be, dude.
Yeah. Anytime you bench your starting quarterback, in particular your, again, preseason Heisman hopeful quarterback, something has gone terribly wrong for a team's season. And that's exactly what's happened for LSU. This would be a tough one. Death Valley is a hard place to play, but you never know. Or I guess not Death Valley, the Bayou. Oops. But anyways, we'll see. Definitely an interesting matchup for sure. I think this will be a fun game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Moving on to the Big Ten, we got Wisconsin at number 2, Indiana. Indiana's favored by 30.5 in this game, and they did look quite vulnerable against Penn State this past week, being down with less than a minute left in the game.
Yeah, dude.
However, and also Wisconsin coming off their biggest win of the season with number 23 Washington. So this may seem kind of crazy. However, I like the Hoosiers to cover the 30.5 points here. I think IU is going to be ticked off that they let it get that close last week, or specifically Kurt Cignetti will be ticked off about it. And then also Wisconsin, I don't think they're going to be, underestimating IU in any way. However, I don't think they're going to be able to repeat that success that they had. And just in Bloomington, I think Indiana's going to take care of business and flex their muscles.
Yeah, man. I think constipated Kurt really is gonna have that team rocking. I mean, I will say this one note. Mendoza looked shit. He obviously got that team across the finish line against Penn State, but with 40 seconds left on the clock, he was nervous, and you could tell. It was his real first test of like intense game action this year because I think IU's basically steamrolled every team they've come across. Oregon closer game, but still. Yeah, man, I think Signetti's gonna have this team cooking and absolutely gassed up. This next game I've got picked. It's in the American Conference. It's UNT at UAB.
Hey, you're picking an American Conference game?
I want to shout out my local North Texas. I think they're the Eagles. I'm not sure. But yeah, Mean Green. Yeah. It spreads right now at 17.5. I'm going with the UNT on this one. They're looking hot. Drew Messmaker's looking good.
He's just crazy, man. Yeah.
Dude's a gunslinger, man. Like, if he's got years of eligibility left on him, he's got to get scooped up by a bigger team. Like, he's got to get scooped up. I think he does. I think he's a freshman right now. I think he's literally a freshman. Like, he didn't have any offers.
True.
Dude didn't have any offers coming out of high school. Like, it's the way he's balling out this year is nuts. I think UNT is going to absolutely unload on UAB. Yeah, calling UNT to take this one.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough.
Yeah, big dog.
Next one, I'm going over to Big Ten territory. We got Iowa playing at USC in the Coliseum. USC favored by 6.5 here. Iowa had a solid performance against Oregon this past weekend, but did take the loss at home. I've seen USC play in the Coliseum. That team has just got something going on offense, and that home cooking too, just really lighting up the scoreboard. I don't think Iowa's going to get blown out, but I do think USC is going to cover that 6.5 points. I just think that Iowa defense isn't going to be enough to slow down that USC offense, and conversely, the anemic Iowa offense, which hasn't been as bad as it has been in the past, is just not going to be able to get the job done and keep it within 6.5.
Yeah, Gronowski on Iowa looked good this past weekend, but it's a matter of can you stay consistent. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if that's the case, but I think I like that pick too. I like USC taking this one. My last one for Blitz this week is number 20 Virginia going into Duke. We talked about this game a little bit. Duke's technically favored because they're the home team by 6.5, but I'm calling Virginia to take this one on the road. They're going to want to look to clean their mess up after they just dropped a game to Wake Forest. The spreads right now at 6.5. I think they're going to cover that and then some. They're going to want to go in and make a statement. They're going to want to go in and start scoring early. Yeah, man, go. Virginia. I'm calling for them to take the dub on the road.
Yeah, clearly Vegas agreed with my idea that Duke could be a sneaky team to potentially pull off the upset here. That said, 6.5, being favored by 6.5 against Virginia is
generous.
Like a lot. So
it's generous. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think Virginia's probably going to cover, if not win that one outright.
Also, side note, you and Vegas, being really lined up. Wow, I wonder why. It's not like you spend like a month or two out of the year just in Vegas. Sorry, side note.
Two weekends.
Go on.
Anyways, though. So, yeah, stick it in ACC territory. In the state of North Carolina, actually, where that other game will be played, we got North Carolina at Wake Forest is my final pick for our Boomer Junior Blitz of the week. I like Wake Forest minus 5.5 at home here. I mean, again, being the home team, big win against Virginia this past weekend, and also Chapel Hill has been a comically massive failure. Not to say that they can't win this game. However, it has just been a completely failed experiment, though, at UNC. I think Wake Forest is going to cover this. Not really too worried about it.
Yeah, Chapel Hill, man. I mean, it's just a testament. I mean, it's just proof that Bill Belichick really is nothing without Tom Brady. Doesn't matter where you go. People are going to be like, oh, Bill Belichick's a great mind in football. I think he's fine, but he's nothing without the big man.
He's so tarnishing his greatest of all time coaching legacy. I mean, it was already happening a bit when he was coaching in New England still and was falling off when Tom Brady had left. But that's a little understandable. I feel like it takes some time to regroup and stuff after that era. But if you just call it quits then, though, I think he's good. But to make this move to college was just unnecessary.
Let's not even talk about his dating choices too, right? Because that clearly is not helping his legacy either.
That's the thing. Just go chill on a beach with Jordan Hudson. Do your fisherman and mermaid Halloween costume. Which, by the way, I did not look to see what their Halloween costume was this year. I hope it was as funny as it was last year.
Oh my
I'm gonna have to pull it
gosh.
up and see if we can bring that up on the pod next week because that was
That's so
so funny
good.
last year.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, for those who don't know, he was dressed up like an old like fisherman, like worn out on the ocean with like a raincoat and stuff. And his 24-year-old girlfriend, that's right,
At the time.
24, that's 2-4,
At the time.
was dressed up as a mermaid. So, um,
It blows my mind.
Belichick is living life, you could say.
It blows my mind because it's like Belichick's ancient and his girlfriend is my age.
Younger.
It's just like
She's my age.
She was.
Oh, I guess. Oh, sorry. I guess she is your age. I guess she is your age.
She's my because she was 24 last year. Yeah, blows. It makes me very, very uncomfortable. But yes, go Bill. Do this on a beach.
Or is it disappointment that you're not the one dating Bill Belichick?
It's disappointing I'm not the one dating Jordan Hudson. But yes. But yes. Oh God.
Oh,
I will say though, Bill pulls, man. Bill pulls. Like he's got game.
Clearly. I mean,
I don't know.
Apparently.
I could take a page out of his book, dude. Like, okay, go off, Bill, man.
We're out here roasting the goat, but in reality, maybe we have many lessons to learn. I'm kidding.
I mean,
I have a girlfriend who I love very dearly. I'm joking around on that. I'm all set, but yeah.
shout out Erica.
Shout out Erica.
All right, let's move
Anyways.
on.
Yeah, so that'll conclude our college football coverage of the week, and then we're kind of in this gray area where this and the college basketball season are mixing. So we got the college football done. We'll move on to the college basketball. We'll start off with our recap of this past week. First off, opening night, we had number 3 Florida and number 13 Arizona playing neutral court in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The Wildcats got the victory, upset here, 93-87. This was pretty big time. Florida did look good in this game, but clearly not what they were last year. And you can really tell that on the court they were missing Walter Clayton Jr., who was their star player last year and just could kind of get them a bucket at any time they needed it.
Yeah.
And his presence was definitely missed, and that's expected. It'll take some time for them to regroup and get used to it. You still got great returners like Alex Condit on the team. I think Florida's still going to have a good season, but I don't think they're going to have that same national championship ceiling as last year.
Yeah.
Conversely, Koa Peat, true freshman for Arizona, insane, amazing performance at 30 points, 7 boards, 5 assists, a block, and 3 steals. Crazy stat line for a debut, and he's already showed that he should be included in that top tier of freshmen of AJ Devanza, Cameron Boozer, and Darren Peterson. And yeah, we'll see if he's able to keep it up, but wow, that was impressive.
Yeah, man. Down go the Gators, man. Hate to see it, but oh boy, Arizona coming out big in this one.
Yeah.
Next game in our recap is Oakland going into West Lafayette to play number 1 Purdue. And really giving Purdue a run for their money. Purdue wins 87-77. And a big note in this game is they were without Trey Kaufman-Renn. He was a big player on the team. It's a little scared, when I saw that they were tied 35 at half. Now it's the opening game of the year. Oakland's a sneaky team. Having said that, Purdue should have dog walked them by at least 20 or so points is what I was thinking. Can I just say, Braden Smith continues to be that dog. 27-9 on the stat line, dude. Like, he really is just that guy. Like, he is past my own, expectations of him in his collegiate career. I remember when he came into Purdue when we were still at school, and I remember he was a dog then, but he's already been Big Ten Player of the Year, looking to be potentially repeating that this year, and really just it's clear that he's the guy that leads and kind of orchestrates that team, and so Purdue wins this one at home by 10 points. Payne's got a little bit of work to clean up on the Purdue side, but I think I'm gonna chalk this up to opening game blunders. All right, I'm gonna chalk this to that, and hopefully Purdue gets to clean this one up.
Yeah. I think, like you said, Oakland's a pesky team. I'm intimately familiar with that, as Oakland and Michigan State play pretty much every year in basketball, so I've seen Oakland many a time over the years. Also, for those listening, if you don't recall, Oakland is the team with Jack Golke, the now accountant, I believe, who had that big upset over Kentucky in the tournament a couple of years ago and hit just a mind-boggling amount of threes. So if you heard Oakland and sounded familiar from before, that's probably what it was. Yeah, I think TKR was definitely well missed here. I think he's the kind of guy would have been good to have another just kind of automatic
Yeah.
bucket on the court.
Yep.
Purdue got the win nonetheless, but yeah, definitely a little bit of concern. But we'll see how they do once TKR is actually back on the
I
court.
kind of wish we didn't have that number one tag. It's nice to have it, but I really wish we didn't have it just based on that all the added pressure that comes with it,
Big
all the
target on the back.
expectation, big like huge target, especially for a team like Purdue, man. Part of me kind of hopes we lose that for a little bit just to get this team like all cleaned up. But I wouldn't mind just us like rising to the expectations. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see how they do.
for sure. Yeah. Moving on then to later in the week, we had number 19 Kansas going to Chapel Hill and play at number 25 North Carolina. Kansas looked pretty good to start in this one. However, North Carolina overcame a slow start and ended up getting the victory 87-74, led by true freshman Caleb Wilson, who had a great stat line. Another really outstanding freshman performance in the first week. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. Amazing numbers, truly amazing numbers. This was big. I feel like Hubert Davis, I'm kind of talking out of my butt here. I didn't actually go and fact check this, but I feel like Hubert Davis has kind of been struggling a bit in North Carolina, hasn't really gotten that many like big wins. So to get this win this early in the season, huge for them and for him. Kind of maybe helping his seat stay a little cool and stuff over there in
100%.
Chapel Hill. Yeah, big time win for that program for sure. Even though it was at home, it ended up being double digits, solid fashion. And also, Darren Peterson, who I mentioned is in that top tier freshman, had an amazing game, and I watched it and saw what the hype is all about. Guy can just put the ball in at any level, mid range, right at the basket, 3-point and beyond. Just absolute magic putting the ball through the hoop right there for him.
No, man. Yeah, I like this North Carolina team. Yeah, like you said, Hubert Davis, big win. I think they'll just. This is gonna put that team, especially in the right mindset going into the year, man. This is gonna put them in the right sort of like just headspace to just go on and keep winning. Our next game on the recap is number 15 Alabama playing St. John's, number 5 St. John's, in Madison Square Garden. And the Tide come out with the win, 103-96. LeBaron Phil, finally led the tie, really just, with 25 points. Really Nate Oates' squad, man, making a statement, fast-paced, scoring quick, kind of like they wanted. I will say this game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Well, I knew it was going to be close, but I didn't think it was going to be this high scoring. Let me put it that way. Going over 100 and still only winning by 7 points is wild. Bama's got the firepower to do it. They got the I will say they got the experience in their players to do it. St. John's, Rick Pitino, all that fun stuff. Having said that, number 5 was generous for them. I think number 5 was extremely generous for them.
That felt a little high going into the season. They lost a lot of their previous team, and there was an argument that there was really only kind of one player that was even keeping them that high up in the first place. So I think we're going to see a healthy correction in the rankings when they come out on Monday.
It's crazy what that Pitino name will do to a team, man. It's crazy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And moving on to our final game that we want to recap from this week, that was very near and dear to my heart, and that was number 14 Arkansas going to East Lansing to take on the number 22 Michigan State Spartans. I called it last week. Michigan State got the victory. Close one, barely covered the spread. 69-66 final score for the Spartans.
Nice.
This was really crazy. I mean, really great game. High quality basketball being played early on. Michigan State true freshman Cam Ward from the DMV area led all scorers in the game with 18 points in his second game of his collegiate career. Not only that, double-double, 18 points and 10 rebounds, doing well on the offensive and defensive glass for him, adding on a couple of steals as well. Amazing performance from him. It was expected that he and our other true freshman, Jordan Scott, were going to be contributors as freshmen this year. However, I don't think anybody would have expected quite that performance off the bat. And part of it, too, it did seem like the team, or Arkansas, was not as worried about him and maybe focused more on other guys. But,
sure.
Man, did he have a nose for the ball, getting, like I said, offensive rebounds, just finding it, getting steals and stuff, too. Great performance by him.
For sure, man.
MSU gets the win in this one despite going 1 for 14 from the three-point line. Those three-point woes from last year kind of continue. We'll see. I do believe in their shooting this year. They've got 3 guys, I think, that I trust to hit three-pointers. I think they just got to heat up a little bit.
I agree.
Jordan Scott, Trey Ford, and Kurt Tang, I think, are going to get it going eventually. And MSU is clearly a different team with and without Jeremy Fears, their starting point guard, on the court. This is a guy that Tom Izzo is called the kind of shades of his legendary point guard, Mateen Cleaves. And that is very apparent. In their opening game this past week against Colgate, there we go, the toothpaste team, he had like 14 points, 10 assists, like 5 boards, 5 steals, like 1 turnover, I think. Something crazy like that. And while he didn't do as well offensively, scoring-wise, he get a lot, like 9 assists, and just in general facilitating the team, looked a lot better out there. So we'll see if Divine Ukuchubu, the backup point guard, can get a better handle on things, controlling the offense, so Fears can get some breathers. But I think they're going to want Fears on the court a lot this season.
Absolutely.
And my final note from this game, I'm almost done. Trevon Brazil, I believe is how you say his name, Arkansas player. Oh man, am I feisty about him, baby? This is crazy. Had a pretty interesting attitude on the court. He's pretty put out and stuff on the bench. He got in some foul trouble early on. Had some frustration fouls he committed when he was messing up on the court. Airballed the potential tying 3 as time expired. And as he was exiting the game, did kind of a little bit of stretch as he was walking and smacked a student in the MSU section with a towel that he had.
Not cool.
Inexcusable behavior. Absolutely
cool.
Insane. Yeah, no, I was reading some forum stuff online after the game. Apparently this is not news and is a repeated thing. So I hope this kid can maybe learn to control his emotions a bit better. And
the NCAA's got to do something about that, right? Like, there's got to be some kind of penalty for it, right?
Yeah, it looked casual enough that he might get away with it. I think there should be some internal discipline, though, from Cal of getting, like, maybe being like, hey, I'm not going to play you if you don't get your crap together.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I heard about this, and I was like, that's bonkers, man. You don't act out.
No, sir. Yeah. So, yeah, he seems talented. I hope for the best for him. I hope he gets, like, the attitude improved and everything. But that was a pretty interesting, like, gossip storyline that had to get thrown in here, I felt like. So, yeah.
On that note, I think we're going to segue into our CBB preview for next week. We got some games lined up. We're going to talk about kind of like what to expect this upcoming week. Zach, kick us off, pal.
For sure, yeah. We got one of the best rivalries in college basketball. We got number 9 Kentucky at number 11 Louisville. This is going to be super exciting. This is always a great rivalry. This is, besides maybe the Kentucky Derby, the biggest sporting event in the state of Kentucky all year. And so this is going to be a really exciting one to see. Fun side storylines here. Mark Pope, Kentucky head coach, has been summoned for jury duty this upcoming week. So that'll be a little interesting as his maybe preparations get influenced a little bit by that and being limited. I'm assuming he'll be able to, postpone it to a later date. I've done it myself, and so I'm assuming he'll be able to as well. No, still performing civic duty. I did, as should he. But I think they would understand if he gets it postponed to maybe mid-April or something like that.
Oh my god.
So yeah, fun little line there. And then also watch out, a little bit of dark horse here. You got Kentucky guard Jasper Johnson, who went off against Purdue in an exhibition game. Watch out for him in this game. I think he might be an X factor that could potentially pull the Wildcats to victory.
Do your civic duty, folks. Don't listen to Zach. Number 10 Texas Tech. Our next game playing at number 17 Illinois. Can the Illini's Eastern European block withstand their first true test? All right. I think Texas Tech is going to be on a tear this year. They're going to want to make a real push for that Final Four and then like potentially a natty appearance. Man, they've got the team to do it. But man, I will say going into this year, I was shocked at how many Eastern Europeans Illinois has. Like,
why would 5 of them? I think.
Why would you want to go live in Urbana-Champaign if you're well? I guess it's better than Eastern Europe, but still. Preseason All-American JT Toppin, playing for Texas Tech. He's going to want to make a statement in this game. It should be a good one. Texas Tech making the trip up to Urbana to play this one should be an interesting one.
I heard that there's a lovely grandma and great-grandma who live in the Urbana-Champaign area, so I'll I'm not going to comment on the Urbana-Champaign as an area to live in.
Shout out Zach's grandma and great-grandma.
Yes, sir. But yeah, this would be a really exciting matchup. Both of these teams, I think, have I don't want to quite say long shot. I'd say glimmers of potential national title hopes, and this will be a big game to indicate who's got what it takes. Not to say that the other team's season will be ruined, but this would be a really exciting, big time early season matchup.
100%,
Moving
dude.
on to our next game, we got number 23 Creighton at number 21 Gonzaga. This may seem like it may be close on paper based off those AP rankings. However, expecting a blowout here for the Zags. They've got an 88.4% chance to win according to ESPN Analytics. And honestly, that kind of sounds fair. I was a little surprised to see that Creighton was ranked. I believe their best player is Iowa transfer Owen Freeman, who is a good player, don't get me wrong. I don't know. Creighton doesn't really seem to have that same X factor they did the past couple of years with Ryan Kalkbrenner, I believe, was the
Yeah.
big guy. He was truly something special. I don't think Owen Freeman is quite that guy. I'd say watch out for Graham Ek and that big man duel to lead the Zags to victory.
Yeah, man, I think Zags are gonna wipe the floor respectfully. But yeah, should be a good one. Our next one, shockingly, Nick's gonna take the Purdue game, but number one Purdue at number 15 Alabama. The Boilermakers go into Tuscaloosa for this game. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this game. Not from any more of like I'm nervous it's going to be a blowout, but I'm nervous because Purdue on the road is always an interesting team. You don't know what team is going to show up. This is going to be the real first like big test on the season. Um, Alabama is not an easy place to play basketball in at all. That crowd is always rocking, and they're going to be looking to build off their St. John's win. I think Payne's going to have this team coached up to really cover all their bases. I think if TKR is back in the lineup, him and Braden Smith, Fletcher if he's there as well, like I think they're going to be a really solid rounded off team. One player I do want to note, Oscar Clough. I want him to really show up to the game and really show up and like really be the guy that they wanted, like that they thought he was going to be. I think it's still early on in the year, but I think he's got room to improve. Yeah, man. For a first big test for the Boilers, we'll see what they come up with.
Yeah, I think Trey Kaufman-Renn's health is going to be kind of the big key in this one. I think having him is going to be huge to just have that, high-low threat of Braden Smith and then TKR is just,
For sure.
purely. I mean, TKR averaged like 20 points per game last season, I think I saw. I mean, truly a great offensive threat. That would be completely gone if, especially with Oscar Clough there and Daniel
Yep.
Jacobson back healthy. But really great offensive threat. Arguably the best offensive or finisher on the inside interior there for Big Ten, if not the country. So, yeah, really hoping for Purdue that TKR is back. And I think this is going to be a really exciting one. I think this is one both teams might cross the century mark, have over 200 total points scored. Purdue can really run up the scoreboard as well.
Yep.
And I think this will be a really fun one to watch.
I agree. Good stuff.
Moving on, we got a former Pac-12 matchup. Rest in peace there. That's
They're still
okay.
around.
Pac-12 is bouncing back soon, baby.
They're still
Pac-12 is
around.
bouncing back.
They're still around.
Yeah. But we got number 13 Arizona at number 12 UCLA. And these are, again, these previous week's rankings. Just due to when we're recording, Arizona, I'm expecting to take a major jump in the rankings after beating number 3 Florida. Anyways, though, this will be interesting. This will be UCLA's first test of the season. Obviously, Arizona had that big upset over Florida in Las Vegas. UCLA is being led by New Mexico transfer Donovan Dent. Be curious to see what they do for Mick Cronin's squad. I personally like Arizona in this matchup. I think Koa Peat is just absolutely insane. But UCLA's got some pretty good firepower too, so this will be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, man. I think it's gonna be a good one. Playing in UCLA gives them the home court advantage, but like you said, Arizona's cooking. They got ballers on all ends, man. It'll be good to watch. My last preview game for this week is number 4 UConn at number 8 BYU, but it's gonna be in Boston. So I guess technically a little bit of a home court-ish advantage for UConn.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. They got that lined up.
That's wacky. Dan Hurley versus AJ DeBansta. I think I said that right. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Zach's gonna correct me on that. But really, I think this is gonna be interesting because Dan Hurley. I mean, even in these like early season games when they've been blowing out opponents, has really been like giving his team the business. Like there's clips of him just chewing at his team when they're up like 40 points. He's going to bring that same energy into this week, playing a top 10 team in BYU. The only thing that I think could throw BYU off is just the amount of travel they've got. It's going to be a long flight for them to come out from Utah, there's going to be a clear UConn like favoritism in this game. Doesn't matter if it's in Boston or not. Like there's going to be a huge UConn crowd coming out to watch. Yeah, I'm actually gonna. I think UConn does take this one just based off of how Dan Hurley's been coaching up this team, especially trying to bounce back off of last year and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, man, I think UConn's gonna definitely clean up on this one for sure.
Yep, I'd say watch for that to be a high scoring game. There's to be a lot of points put up in that one, but I think it'd be heavily entertaining. And I agree. I do think that with travel as a factor and everything, and basically being at UConn, it's not at UConn, but way closer to there. I do think UConn's going to end up pulling out the victory there.
It's going to be a lot.
And to our final game to preview of the week, really is kind of a 2-for-1. I just in general want to talk about Houston's upcoming slate for this week. They start off, they host Oakland, who we talked about earlier, giving Purdue a serious run for their money at Purdue. Oakland is 0-2 in the year. They did get beat a bit more by Michigan earlier this past week. So not saying that, Oakland is a great squad that's for sure going to get this upset at Houston, but it is not going to be a cakewalk for Houston either. So I think the Cougars, are going to get a nice challenge, however, get a victory in that first game. However, then they also play at number 20 Auburn later in the week. Auburn, who I will say, also definitely a bit of a downturn. They lost their head coach, Bruce Pearl, over the offseason, replaced by his Nepo baby son, as well as losing key players like Janai Broome. Yeah. Let's see. I think Houston may end up winning that one, too. I think there is a good chance Houston does go 2-0 this upcoming week. However, two games that both are far from certain.
Really
from being
tough.
United. So,
really tough.
Yeah. Shout out to the Cougars, though, for scheduling a really tough non-conference slate, though. This is some really good matchups.
Go off. Yeah, definitely a good point on Auburn's Nepo baby, higher. Didn't like that higher at all, man. It's clear, passing the baton or whatnot. We'll see how they fare. Auburn's really hyping up. Is it Steve Pearl, right? Is that his son's name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're really hyping him up, man. We'll see. But, lots of good games to look forward to this week.
Yes, sir. And with that, that'll bring us to the end of our final segment. So we'll go ahead and wrap on up here. Thank you so much, as always, everyone, for tuning in and listening. Make sure you like, follow, rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff, YouTube and Spotify. As always, if you have any questions or feedback, make sure to hit us up at officialboomerandjunior@gmail.com or drop a comment on this video/episode. Make sure to follow us on social media, too. We got Instagram, TikTok, we got all that stuff posted to YouTube Shorts too, for some fun stuff, as well as Facebook, announcing when our episodes are coming out each week. So make sure you check those out and see all that bonus content for some fun little extra stuff.
Until next week, goodbye, folks. Go enjoy some college football.
Absolutely, and basketball, baby.
And basketball.
Let's go. We are back. Best time of the year.
We're back.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.